Hello, everyone. My name is Linda Cicino. I just wanted to welcome you all here today. And I'm so excited to introduce you to someone that really is such a great example of what our company represents. You know, today you're going to hear a little bit about who we are, what we do, and there isn't anyone better to share that story with you. You know, this individual, he didn't come to us from a financial background. In fact, you know, he's going to tell you a little bit more about his story, but he had no background in what we do. But because of his hard work, his tenacity, the type of person he was able to build such a large, substantial business within our firm. He's now expanded all over the country, over 200 offices. He's helped hundreds of people reach his level of success, and he continues to help families day in and day out find their financial freedom. You know, these are things that are so important to us. But what really impresses me and what I appreciate most about him is who he is as a person. He's active in his community, in his church. He's an incredible father, a dedicated husband. He's truly the type of example that we're looking for. He's an example of what success really should look like. And so if you're hearing our story for the first time, you couldn't have picked a better evening. We are so excited to have him speak to you today. Please help me welcome Mr. Shawn Villalovos.
Awesome. Thank you, Linda, so much. I appreciate that introduction. And I'm excited to share our message today with the people that are here for the first time, especially. And we have a lot going on. You know, I appreciate what you said. And, you know, my background didn't have anything to do with money. Like you mentioned, I grew up in a construction family, and never in a million years would I have thought that I'd even want to be a part of financial services and teaching people what we're teaching them today about money. And, you know, here I am 21 years later. I'm 43 years old, started doing this business at 22, and a lot's happened in the last 21 years. And I've really seen a shift in people wanting and needing help. They've always needed help, but there's a matter of them wanting more help now. And so that's really apparent. And that's what I'm going to share with you guys today. And I'm excited to do so. I've never not been excited about our business, and 21 plus years now of doing this. And it's never not exciting because people never stop needing what we do. And Revolution Financial Management, we're exactly that. We're revolutionizing the financial services industry. It is a revolution. It's a grassroots movement. It's people teaching and serving each other, and really just helping each other be in a better financial situation. And so I'm excited to share it with you all today, and let's get started. I'll jump on in. And first and foremost, let you know that tonight's going to be educational more than anything, and that's our approach in everything that we do. We want people to understand money, and from all aspects. Now, obviously, in a short amount of time, in 45 minutes or so, I'm not going to teach you everything there is to know about money, but I'm going to give you some basics. And we're going to talk about a couple of things. And so as you sit here and listen, all I ask is that you look at this from kind of three sets of eyes, I guess you can say. And one is, who do you know that could benefit from some of the stuff we're going to talk about tonight? If we can obviously help you or your family financially, you let us know, and we'll talk more about that at another time. And then I'm going to show and talk about our business as well, and how that works in our expansion as we're looking for people and growing like crazy. Since I started doing this in 1999, we've grown every single year substantially. And this year is not only not an exception, but one of the largest growth years that we've ever had. And that's not a normal thing right now nowadays with most businesses and companies and jobs. And so we're growing leaps and bounds, but mainly because of what we're doing. I mentioned the education. We help people in every area of their money, so we can help them with saving more, with investing, with protecting their family, with getting out of debt faster, with estate planning. If it basically has to do with money, we do it. And those things can be uncomfortable for some people to talk about sometimes. And that's why I think it's important for people to come across a company like ours. And our mission statement is to help people from all walks of life build a better future and especially financially, and not just financially, just in every aspect of their life. And the challenge today is that most middle American families are underserved. I look at my family growing up. We, to be generous, you could have called us lower middle class. I lived with a single mom who raised 3 kids on her own most of the time. She always had 2, 3 jobs at a time just to put food on the table for us kids. And she never got a phone call from, and not picking on any of these companies, but Merrill Lynch or Morgan Stanley or Goldman Sachs never called my mom. They never called anyone in my family, as a matter of fact, and tried to help them with their money or to be in a better financial situation. And so when I came across what we do, I know I got excited to help my family because I knew no one else was going to if I didn't start learning these things and try to start helping them and introduce them to a company that would. And that's what we need right now as a nation when it comes to money, is a different kind of company that's going to serve the middle class. And we believe we're that company. You know, the rest of the financial industry as a whole, they're only focusing their attention on wealthy people, the 1%ers like you've heard of. And for us, we focus on everyone. We're not going to say get lost rich guy when we come across people that have money or businesses that do, but our focus and attention is on everybody else. And so we've really positioned ourselves where we can help anybody, regardless of if they've got 50 million bucks or they're 50 grand in debt. We're going to sit down, provide the same type of service and help and education as we would either way. And so that's very different. And we're proud of that. And you look at the need in our country is huge right now because there's a big shift in responsibility that's been happening here over the last 20 or 30 years, where in the past, you could rely on Social Security and pension plans and personal savings as a combination. They called it the 3-legged stool. And that's no longer available anymore. For the baby boomers are probably the last generation that's going to receive solid pension plans and Social Security. And so without pension plans being around, I mean, they're very few and far between now, if non-existent for a lot of places and industries. And Social Security, if it's going to even be around, it's starting to be less and less money and at later and later ages. And it may not even be around for Generation X and especially the millennials. And so now we're seeing a shift from the responsibility of retirement being on the shoulders of companies and the government. The shift has really changed to being on our shoulders and us having to take responsibility for those things. But if we're not taught about money, it's difficult. I know the way I was taught to use money growing up is if you wanted more, you just work more. And then the more you have, the more you spend, the more debt you have, that you can finance things, that you want to have good credit, and good credit will help you finance more stuff. And that wasn't necessarily the way to do it. And I felt no matter how much money I made, I was always paycheck to paycheck. And the same was true for my parents and aunts and uncles and everyone else in our family. And so the first thing we look at is people's money habits, and we try and restructure the way they use their money. And notice I didn't say we tell them to lower lifestyle instantly. A lot of times they don't have to drastically decrease their lifestyle. They just have to change the way they use the existing money that they have. And if I can look into somebody's budget and without shifting their living expenses too much, maybe I can save them some money and some things there. But if I can lower their taxes, or I can shift the way that they pay their debts so that they can pay them off faster and maybe even with less monthly output, I can free up money within their existing budget for them to be able to save more. And so we look to try to do that first. And we also look at somebody's situation instead of having a product or a company or a service that we're trying to fit everybody into. We look at somebody's specific situation. We put together a comprehensive plan for them and whatever their goals are, whatever's important to them. For some people, it's retirement. For some people, it's college funds for their kids. For some people, they just want to get out of debt faster. For some people, they want to protect their family. Some people want an estate plan. Everybody's different. So the first thing we find out is what is the most important? What are your goals? What are you trying to achieve? And then we can put together numbers based on your specific situation and show you, hey, you're here and you want to be here. And here's what you need to be doing to be on track. If you're already on track, we'll tell you you're on track. If you're not, we'll show you what your specific numbers are to get you on track. So it takes you from guessing or hoping you're doing the right thing to knowing what that right thing is. And then I'm not going to try and fit one thing on everybody. I can take that situation to the marketplace and find the best available company to fit your specific needs. And that's if you're an individual, that's if you're a family, that's if you're a business. None of it matters to us. We have the resources and the best companies in the marketplace available to help anybody in any situation. And so it's very diverse, and that's not normal either. Most companies in our industry, they have one product or one company or anything that they represent. Now, we are under the umbrella of Transamerica, which you've probably heard of. They're a global powerhouse owned by the Dutch company Aegon, which is close to a $700 billion company. And so we have a lot of assets backing us. We have a lot of support. But the unique thing with Transamerica is every single major company as one of their competitors in the marketplace, they allow us to use. And so we're not captive to just using one company, which only benefits our clients. If we can't better somebody's situation, we're not going to do business with them. And that's an advantage because, again, most people, they end up in one thing or one place because they walked into an office with a certain name on the door, and that's the product they end up with. And the same is not true for us. We can really find the best available things for anybody's situation. And so I talked about educating and teaching people fundamentals. So when we look at somebody's situation, while we sit down in that first appointment, we never ever do business in a first sitting with them. It's just about gathering information. We teach some fundamentals. One of the things we love to teach everybody is the basics of compound interest and the rule of 72, which I don't know how many of you have heard of the rule of 72 before, but you've probably heard of Albert Einstein. And Albert Einstein figured out this thing called the rule of 72. And what he found is that if you take the number 72 and you divide it by whatever interest you earn on the money, whether it's in a savings account at the bank or an investment or something of that nature, whatever interest you're earning in that investment, you divide that into 72, and that'll tell you how many years it takes for that money to double. So in this example, it shows someone at 29 years old that has $10,000 to invest. Maybe their grandma gave it to them and said, hey, take this 10 grand, invest it, don't touch it until you're older and use it for retirement. And they take that money and they go to the bank. And the bank has a special deal right now and pays them 1% in that account, which, by the way, is more money than most banks are paying. Most banks are paying 0.2, 0.3% or somewhere in that range. And so at 1% interest, you divide that into 72, it equals 72. So that money's going to double every 72 years. So what that means is that 29-year-old, their 10 grand is going to turn into $20,000 when they're 100 years old, which isn't exciting. That makes saving money not exciting. And then you think of being a millionaire, and the average person starts doing that math in their head, and instantly we exclude ourselves from ever being a millionaire. And that's sad because it doesn't have to be that way if you know of better places to put your money. So what if I could add a 0 to your return? And instead of 1%, you earn 10%. Well, most people, if you add a 0 to the interest they would earn, they would want to, just off the top of their head, add a 0 to their outcome, just like they would with multiplication. But compound interest works different from multiplication because if you added a 0, you'd have $200,000 at age 100. But with compound interest, when you add a 0, now that money's going to double every 7.2 years instead of every 72 years. And so let's round it off to 7 years, just for easy numbers' sake. And now that same money from that same person, same amount of time, if we took it to 100 years old, there'd be over $10 million in that account. But obviously, most people aren't going to wait till 100 years old to retire. Once they get into retirement age, 65, 72, in that range, they've got hundreds of thousands of dollars in that account with the same money. Same person, same money, same time. It's just earning that higher return makes all the difference in the world. And by the way, this works just as good against you as it does for you. So if you have a bunch of credit cards that you're paying at double-digit returns, double-digit interest that you're paying on that, it's no wonder why most people can't ever get out of debt, because it's working against them, and interest never sleeps. So the key is get rid of the stuff you're paying interest on as fast as you can and start saving and investing more money in better places as fast as you can, and doing the two simultaneously can get you on the road to being wealthy instead of on the road to being broke. And so that's an important thing to understand. Another thing we want people to understand is that there's more than a couple places to save and invest. Most people, when they think of saving money, they think of putting it in their bank or under their pillow or in their closet or burying it in a coffee can in their backyard, or, you know, whatever number of things people do with their money when they save it. And so I already mentioned saving that way does not sound exciting because it can't really ever turn into anything, but it used to be only one of a couple ways that you could really save. The second way you used to be able to save money was to invest it in the market. And that's what a lot of people do with their 401ks or IRAs or mutual funds and things like that, which isn't bad, but then that goes up and down and there's no guarantees there. And it's scary, especially this last 20 years. I mean, people watch their accounts go, you know, up and then way down and then back up to break even again, then go way down and then back up to break even again, then go way down. And so it's gotten kind of terrifying for people to have that be your only two options. You either have to kind of stomach the ups and downs all the time or stick it in a fixed account. And now there's other options, especially with these accounts called indexed accounts, that give you the best of both worlds. And the way indexed accounts work is they give you a guaranteed floor, meaning that if the market goes down in any capacity, you won't lose anything. As you can see on the graph there, when that market goes down, it just flatlines, so you're not losing. And then when the market comes back up, then you're going to gain the returns of whatever it goes back up. And some of them may cap it at, let's call it 12 or 15%. So if the market came back up 20%, you're only going to get 15, but because you didn't lose, you're getting 15% on a lot more money than the 20% on the, you know, on the money that you lost previously. And so, you know, it's for somebody who wants no risk of loss, but still wants to be able to participate in double-digit returns when the market's doing well, then that's a great option for you. And most people don't even know it exists. So if you don't know it exists, it might as well not. And obviously, you probably know some people that need to know that that's even an option for them. And then we need to understand how taxes affect our money. The challenge with taxes is almost nobody understands really how their retirements are going to be taxed when they retire. About half of the people I sit down with that have 401ks at their job or IRAs or any other type of tax deferred account, half the people we sit with don't know that when you retire, you have to pay income taxes on every dollar that you pull out of those accounts. And then the other half that do know that, they don't know how much it's going to be. A big reason for that is because we don't know what the tax brackets are going to be when we retire. There's no way to predict what that's going to be 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 years from now. And so there's kind of this great unknown of how much are you going to, of all the money that you've saved your whole life, that you've worked your butt off for, how much is Uncle Sam going to let you take out of that, right? And so people need to know and understand tax advantage accounts, because tax advantage accounts, no matter how much money you have in those accounts, you're not going to have to pay income tax on them when you use them. And so those are accounts like Roth IRAs and money inside of certain life insurance policies and things like that. And so when you put money in those accounts, if you're able to draw and pull the money out of there income tax free, it makes retirement a lot more predictable. It puts more control in your hands and gives you the ability to know a lot closer of whether or not you're on the right track or not, because it takes out a lot of the unknown factors that most retirement plans leave open for us. And so again, now am I saying only get tax advantage plans and not tax deferred? Absolutely not. I'm just saying it's important to understand all of them and how they work and how we can utilize all of them to maximize our dollars. And that's all we're trying to do, is just help people get more bang for their buck. So if you'd like to maximize the money that you have going out currently and get more of it working hard for you so that you don't have to your entire life work hard for your money, then you should probably sit down with whoever invited you or somebody training them to get more information. Now let me talk about our business for a little bit, and our expansion and what we're doing and who we're looking for, and what's happening. Because I'll tell you what, I've been doing this over 20 years. I've never seen growth like what's happening now. I've never seen so many people doing as well as they're doing in our firm, as fast as they are right now. We're having people coming in that are able to truly work from home, which has never happened in our business before. I mean, it's something that here we are doing a Zoom appointment, and I'm talking to hundreds of people right now, where, you know, in the past, for us to do meetings with hundreds of people, geographically, it was binding. You had to fit them all in a room that would fit that many people. There was a lot more inviting that had to be done. You had traffic as a factor, weather, all kinds of different things. Here, if you could pull it up on your phone or your computer, you could be anywhere and be getting the information. And so it's really changed the way that we do business. And that's not even the major part of why we're growing. And the major part of why we're growing is a number of different things. Part of it's timing, part of it's how we pay our people, part of it's our system, part of it's just the way we do business. And I'm going to talk about all of those things for the next 20, 30 minutes here. But, you know, really the important thing to know about our business and the way that we operate is that we're all self-employed. And, you know, there's a lot of people in our country, especially right now, that have an entrepreneurial spirit and they want to start a business of their own, but the barrier to entry to most businesses is very high. Most businesses, there's a big upfront investment. The average small business in the US takes $260,000 to start. The time that you have to put in to an upstart business, the knowledge of just knowing how to run a business in the first place. And then obviously you need to have a need for your product or your service or whatever it is, and the overall risk and all of those things stops most people from starting before they even get started. And so as I go through this, I want you to know and understand that everyone that works with us is an independent contractor, and this is a business of their own. But we have a lot of parts of our system and the way that we do our business that take these risk factors out of the equation. So let me talk about a couple of those things. First and foremost, none of us are employees. And so if you've ever thought, man, it'd be great to have my own business, man, it'd be great to have my own company, to not have to clock in anymore, to control my own time, to be on my own schedule, to be my own boss. If you've ever not wanted to be an employee, then this might be a great place for you. And that could be part-time, it could be full-time, it could be a career change, it could be something you do on the side as a stay-at-home business. I don't know, that's different for everybody. But the one thing that I know is that we don't have any employees working with us when they come on board. So anyone that works with us is either self-employed, they are a business owner with us, or an investor, and or kind of a combination of all three. Now, when somebody comes on board, most of the time, most of the people that work with us have never had a business of their own before. And so the biggest challenge we have is teaching people to have a business mindset. Even if they come in thinking, man, this is great, I'm my own boss, we don't want them necessarily to treat it as a self-employed person as much as we'd like them to treat it as a business owner. And what I mean by that is, how many of you guys know someone that owns a business, but that business owns them more than they own the business? It's probably most business owners that you know. Well, if that's the case, then you're not truly a business owner. Truly being a business owner means that whether you're there or not, you're still going to make money. The company's still going to grow. The company can run whether you're there or not. They can run with or without you. And that's what we strive to do in our business, and teach people how to grow and build a business with us that does operate on its own with or without them. And so that's very different. We don't want people to come in and work for us. We want people to come in and learn how to run and operate a business of their own that can run itself. And then obviously being in the financial services arena and teaching people about money, you're going to get a world-class financial education. And if you start applying the principles that you're teaching to your own financial life, you can shift obviously to being an investor and knowing the right things to do with your money and having your money work hard for you, so that you don't have to keep working hard. Our goal is to help people become an investor and get on the right side of these quadrants here, and have a business that's running and operating for you, instead of you having to run and operate your business all the time. And now, obviously, that doesn't happen overnight or to every single person that comes in, but that's our goal from the start. And like I mentioned, everybody's different, but that's available to everybody here. The reason we're able to do that, and we've been able to do it for thousands and thousands of people, is because of our system. We have a turnkey system, similar to almost like a franchise system, but without any of the franchise fees or upfront costs or any of that stuff. But we have over 40,000 licensed reps in North America within our company, which makes us one of the largest financial services companies in the world, especially by the number of agents that we have out there in the marketplace. And so we're a giant company already, but we're really just getting started as big as we are. When I started in our business in '99, we only had about 3,000 of us. Now there's over 40,000. And there's no limitation on how big we can grow. As it stands right now, it would take us 6 or 7 generations to reach the entire marketplace with the number of people that we have right now. So we literally have no saturation point for the growth of our business. And as big as we are, we need a lot more people. We need to get a lot larger. And the reason we've been able to grow, all of the most successful people in our business have done it running the same system. And it's kind of like a McDonald's franchise. If you bought a McDonald's, they make you do the exact same thing. You got to fry the fries the same way, shake the shakes the same way, build the hamburgers in the same order. Everything is exactly the same, even from, the side that the fryer is on inside of those franchises. And so ours is the same way. We know exactly what works. It's worked for thousands and thousands of people. And all you have to do is learn that system. And so what that does is we're able to take people from all walks of life, from any background, any educational background, I told you a little bit about my background. I never went to college. I barely made it through high school. I tell everybody I have my PhD, my public high school diploma. I didn't come from right now as it stands in my entire family. I have a brother and 2 cousins that have a college education. No one else in my family do. But until that generation, and they're all much younger than me, until that generation, the only person in my entire family that had a college degree was my grandpa on my mom's side. And so we don't have a lot of people that have higher educations in my family. I'm the only person in my entire family to not do blue collar work. Which is interesting. Even though I don't have a college education, I'm the only guy to not do blue collar stuff. I didn't come from money. I always make a joke. My whole family is, they're bikers, construction workers, and sailors. The only one we don't have is truck drivers. So they're really rough around the edges, tough people, salt of the earth, but don't know anything about money. Not real smart. We're good with our hands, but not, the best with our brains. That didn't matter for me because there was a system. I am the type of guy, you show me how to do something and I'm going to try and do it better than everyone else. And that's all I need with a system like ours. We say the same thing. We do the same thing all the time. You just have to learn what that is and do it more often. Right. And so you could have someone like me with that background. I was 22 years old, had long hair to almost my butt. I was a surfer dude. I still surf a lot. I enjoy doing that, but I do have shorter hairdo, and I speak a lot clearer than I used to. I can tell you that. But then you have someone like on the screen here to the left, Penny and Benjamin, good friends of mine. Penny always one of the highest paid women in all of financial services. She makes over $6 million in annual income. And she's Malaysian. She was a foreign exchange student when she started with our firm and barely spoke English. She still has a very heavy Chinese accent. It's hard to understand sometimes. And she's great. She's one of my best friends, love her and her husband. But you wouldn't look at her and think that she'd be a powerhouse in financial services by listening to her speak and everything else. And then next to her, you have Marshall Falk. Some of you guys have probably heard of Marshall Falk before. He's an NFL Hall of Famer running back for the LA Rams and the Indianapolis Colts. And And he just opened an office with us in San Diego. He's a broker with us, and he's, college education, polished, sharp, smart guy, very successful, has other successful businesses. He's come in, run our system, and found a lot of success with it in a short amount of time. And he already had a background of success. Then you have Raja next to him in the middle. Now Raja is making over $7 million a year in annual income, and 13 years ago, he was driving a taxi cab. And so I've been doing this for 21 years, and I'm making a couple million a year, but Raja makes more than 3 times as much income as me, and he's been doing it, a little more than half the time. It's the only reason he's been able to do more faster is because he talked to more people with our system faster. That's it, nothing else. And you could tell by looking at him. He's Indian. He's an immigrant from India, lives in Canada now, and he's very successful in what we do. And then my wife and I told you my background. My wife's background, she grew up in the northeastern corner of Montana. Same thing, not college educated, anything else, any of those things. And she's a business powerhouse with what we do. And then on the right, you have Ed Milet. And Ed Milet's been one of my personal mentors. If you don't know who Ed Milet is, look him up, follow him on Instagram. He's kind of like the next Tony Robbins is what I like to call him. He is one of the premier personal growth coaches in the world today. And everything that he learned in that coaching and that mentoring experience, he learned in our business. And, we've been fortunate to be mentored directly by him. But that's a key in our business. Every single one of these people was mentored and coached by somebody who was already very successful in what we do. And the same stands for you. If you're new and interested in our business, you're going to be coached and mentored and trained by someone who's already very successful in doing it. We don't teach theory here. We know what works. All you have to do is be willing to learn it our way, and then we'll teach you to do the same thing. And the faster you run with that system, the better your chances are of doing well with us. As far as income goes, I'm going to give you kind of an average, and it's on the low end average here because I'm going to use the example of helping a family set up some plans at $185 a month. So we're not talking about a family that has millions of dollars or even hundreds of thousands, but they maybe never saved before, and now you're helping them save, and you freed up a couple $100 in their budget, and now you're setting up a plan, as you can see there, at $185 a month into that plan. That plan, by the way, would be a tax advantage plan. It would help them with some insurance stuff. It would be in an indexed account, most likely, like in the example I showed you. So it would cover a lot of bases for them. And the way we would get paid on that plan, if we set up 4 of those in a month, so you're not a top producer setting up 20 or 30 of those accounts every single month or any of those things. You just 1 a week. So you're kind of below average in how many families you're helping every single month, but 1 a week, you would take home about $4,000 a month. So let's say you only helped 1 a month. That means you'd take home about $1,000 just helping one family a month with a couple $100 a month plan. And so I like this example because, again, it's showing someone that doesn't have much money. You help them out. You get them starting to put some money away in the right places for themselves. And we get paid well for it. The best part about this is none of that money comes from our clients. Our clients don't pay us that. It comes directly from the companies we deal with. So they pay us a part of their marketing budget gets paid to us for bringing them clients they didn't have to advertise for. So instead of them paying for commercials or advertisements, we bring them clients, they pay us for those clients. So the cool thing is it's a good win-win. The company wins because they end up paying less than they spend in commercials. They get better clients because we're attached. Best thing for our clients, no money out of their pockets, and works great for us because we get paid well. I mentioned when we put that plan together, we never do business in a first sitting. We also don't charge for the service of putting together numbers for you, showing you what's out there, showing you what you need to do, what your numbers are. There's no charge for that. And that's obviously a big win for our clients, and we get paid handsomely. By the way, that $1,000 on each of those clients is at our lowest contract level. So if you became a broker with us, which means you've just been doing it a little longer. That broker position, you help those same 4 families in a month, you take home about 7 grand, which again is pretty substantial. At the job I had, I was working in the studios as a laborer when I started in our business, and I was working 70 to 80 hours a week on average to take home a few $1,000s a month. And so I came here and was able to work, make more part-time here than I was 70, 80 hours a week at my other job. And then it was an easy transition out of that other career into something totally new. And then I decided I was going to become a broker. And being a broker is kind of like in real estate. Our structure is very similar to real estate, where you could either be a real estate agent or a real estate broker. And typically the broker makes more money because they have a lot of agents that work inside of their brokerage. So you could either be a real estate agent working in a RE/MAX, or you could own the RE/MAX, right? And so if you're a broker that has a RE/MAX with 50 agents, every time one of those agents sells a home, you get a percentage of that transaction. And so the same works here. And so this example shows you have this massive agency, this massive brokerage of 5 people. So obviously I'm kidding. It's not a big brokerage. It's not hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands, just 5 people. And those 5 people are helping 4 families a month. You would take home about 15 grand from those transactions in that month if you weren't helping sitting down with any families, just your guys in your agency were. If you helped 4 families on top of that, you just add the 7 grand to the 15,000, and that gives you the 22,000 a month number down there at the bottom. But the bottom line is, in the way that we get paid, is that on the front end, we don't have quotas. So you don't have to produce a certain amount to not get fired, which is nice because you don't have the stress of having to perform every single month. But simultaneously, there's no maximum payouts. And so bottom line is, as many families as you help people with more money, you make more money. You help average Joe and a bunch of them, you make more money. The more families getting help, the more you make. And that's significant because you can feel good about it. You could sleep good at night knowing that you're making your money through helping people be educated and better their financial position, which obviously affects a lot of people's different parts of their life. Another reason why we're growing so much is because of timing. Timing's never, ever been better. And not because of things going on Zoom and people losing jobs and they're unsure about their futures, as much as we had a giant boom that was coming anyways just because of the baby boomers. If you don't know who the baby boomers are, they are people that are born in our country that were born between 1946 and 1964. And there was about 77 million people that were born here during that time, and about another 20-something million that migrated here from other countries in that generation. So it's about 100 million people in the United States are baby boomers. So if you don't know what that means about 1/3 of the country is this generation. And right now, every few seconds, another baby boomer is turning 50 years old, or sorry, 65. And they're thinking about retirement. They're scared about retirement. They're unsure if they're going to have enough money. They want to save more. They got to put away. They got to make up for lost time. But they're not getting any help to do it. They don't know where to go. The bank's not showing them the best stuff. They don't have enough money to go to a big advisor. A lot of the minimum investments for a lot of these big firms is $1 million. If you don't have $1 million to bring them, they don't even let you in their office. And so you have a lot of these boomers that want good advice. They want to sit down with someone. They want to know what to do. They just have no place to go. And so that's one factor. The second factor is people are losing jobs. But guess who's losing jobs more than anybody else? It's the baby boomers. And why is that? It's because they get paid the most. And so it's not just because they're older. It's because if they could bring in 2 or 3 people for the price of 1, why would companies not do that right now? And so that's happening a lot. So you have a lot of these baby boomers that are being forced out of their jobs or their industries and looking for other jobs, other careers, other industries, businesses they can start, just something they can do. And it's not going to be in the same industry that they spent most of their lives in, most likely. And so we're filling that space with them because we're looking for good people to work with us. And I think of what I've been able to do, starting in this business at 22 years old, no background in financial anything, no reputation, in my community or anything else, and I've been able to grow a successful company all across the country. I could only imagine what someone could do who already has a solid reputation in their community, that, you know, has kids, grandkids, that's a staple in their community that people trust and like, and all of those things, doing the same thing I did, but with more credibility. I could only imagine what they could do with a business like ours. And so, you know, we're filling a lot of that need for the baby boomers in providing a way for them to make extra income on the side or change careers, as well as teaching them more of the right things to do with that money that's so precious to them right now. You know, imagine with the market madness out there, not having guarantees on your money and being worried about the market crashing and, you know, who's going to be the next president, everything else. It's like when your whole retirement is depending on those things, that can be scary. And so we can ease a lot of that tension and that fear by just helping people get into better things and options for themselves to give them more peace of mind. And so timing's never been better. Then you add on top of that all the craziness in the market, all the people losing jobs, all of the, you know, people realizing that you can't depend on a company to take care of you your whole life, or maybe you don't have her as a recession-proof business as you thought you did. Not only is our business recession-proof, we boom in times of difficulty. Since 1999, this is the third major boom that I've seen in our business. The first one was 2000 to 02 when there was a major crash in the market. The second was 2008, 09 when there was another crash in the market in real estate. And then what's happening now with the crash in the market and COVID-19 and the lockdown and the job loss and all of those things. And every one of those times, our company, we tend to double, triple, quadruple in size, and now is no exception, except you add the baby boomers now to that, and I've never seen it as good as it is right now. And the most important part of our growth is how we do business, what we call our core values. And what I mean by that is our goal, if somebody works with us, is not just to help you make a bunch of money, because you can make a lot of money doing a lot of different things, but it's to have a better overall life. And our entire environment and structure and the way we operate is wrapped around those things. We want people to grow personally, to be better husbands and spouse and wives and parents and you know, brothers and sisters in their communities. That we want them to be better business people, better leaders, and so that we're constantly teaching those sorts of things. We have our structure is we have an incentive for each other's success, so it's a true team environment. We are and always will be a family-focused company, so we have a huge family environment in our offices. It's you know, as we're allowed to be in the offices and stuff, we encourage families. We have a lot of families that work together and do it together. We do a lot of recognition. We have a lot of fun. You know, for us, more than anything, we're looking for good, honest people. So if you're thinking, you know what, this sounds pretty good, I'd like to know more, this is something I might want to do, I'll just say this, you know, we don't want someone who's just in it to make a quick buck, or that's good at sales, or that's like a good closer. If you're good at that stuff, or you have good, you know, real good people skills, that's awesome, that's a bonus. But the most important thing to us is that if you're going to sit with a client representing our company and deal with their money, can those people trust you with their money? That's all we care about. So if you're a good, honest person, your intentions are good, you want to help people, you want to serve people, you want to improve your community, your family, I think you've got your best shot with us. Because I can teach anyone how to do our business because of our system, but you can't teach people to be honest. And so we're looking for people that are good, honest people in their communities. If you're even thinking to yourself, you know, this isn't for me, but I know some people that, you know, really, I think could do well at this because they're good people. I'd love to talk to them. I'd love to get a chance to introduce what we do to them, right? And that's the thing, is we treat people different. We do things different. It's much more about just making money. And our system is kind of has things built into it to help with that. Now, we're not a faith-based company, but we want people to strengthen their faith with us. And that can mean any number of different things. You know, I showed you all of those different people when I showed you the system. You know, Penny is a Buddhist. There's Christian people there. There's Raja's Hindu, right? And so there's all these different faiths, different ethnicities, different genders, different personality types. We've got doctors, engineers, teachers, construction workers, students, you know, servers. It doesn't matter. There's engineers. There's all these different people and backgrounds. Single parents, right? Stay-at-home moms. So none of that matters, right? We have families that do it different ways. We have husbands and wives that build their business together. We have single parents that do it with their kids. We have grandparents that do their business with their kids and grandkids. So it can become multi-generational. There is no one way to do it. But one thing we do want everybody to have in common is that we want their family strength, their faith strengthened by what we do, their family strengthened by what we do, their businesses strengthened by each other. And then through that, better our communities through, we do lots of philanthropy and we're part of a lot of different organizations. The company has a matching dollar for dollar fund for all the stuff that we raise money for in our communities. And so we never get sick of, you know, not only showing people how to make money, make more, do more with their money and put themselves in better financial positions, but just live better lives overall. And I think that's what people want. People want to, at the end of the day, feel great about what they do. And especially nowadays, the thought of just making a lot of money isn't enough anymore. People want to feel good about it. They want to feel like they're serving people and helping people and making a difference. And we've got that. We have a lot of things built into the company that make sure you're spending time with your family. Part of that is the recognition we do. We do a lot of vacations. We give away, you know, fun things like trophies and plaques and rings and watches and cars. And we send people all over the world on vacations. In 21 years I've been with the company, I've been to Hawaii 21 times, been to Tahiti a couple of times, been to Fiji, to Australia, all over Europe, all over North America, all over Mexico, the Caribbean, all over the place. I've been around the world a couple of times and someone else has paid for it, you know, because vacations are fun. It's 1,000 times more fun when someone else is paying. Right before everything happened with COVID-19, in February, we went to Hawaii with the company and we had over 500 couples that the company sent to Hawaii. And when you go, it's you. And if you have kids, they send your kids, your spouse, you know, all of that stuff is taken care of and encouraged by the company because we just feel that when people feel good, they do good. It's one of the traps of entrepreneurship is not spending quality time with family. And so we've got a lot of these things built in to our recognition and what we do as a company to have you spend more time with your family. And it makes it fun. At the end of the day, we love to have fun. And even though this is a serious business, we have a good time with it. And so that energy is hard to explain through a Zoom call like this. But I'll tell you what, when we can be back in our offices and you come into one of our offices and you get around our people, they are good people. We have a lot of fun with what we do. We're like one big family. Everybody appreciates each other, helps each other. It's just a great place to be. And so if you're interested in any part of that, you know, back to what I said in the beginning, maybe this isn't for you. Maybe you're already totally set financially. You've got your millions, you're on track. You're not ever worried about money. You don't think twice about it. Great. You probably know somebody that needs help in those areas though. You know, maybe you already have a really good advisor that's helped you with all the things I talked about, but could you refer that advisor to all your friends? And if that answer's no, let us talk to them, you know, because if your advisor's helped you and we do a lot of the same stuff your person has done for you, then obviously we can help the people you care about as well. And so who did you think of? If anybody came to mind as I was talking about some stuff tonight, we'd love to get their name and be able to reach out to them and give them the chance to see what you saw. If you know this could help you or your family, let us know. we'll sit down, we'll do another call like this, or we can meet in one of our offices or something where we can sit down and get your information and put a plan together for you and show you your numbers and maybe give you some ideas you didn't already know about. And then if the business is intriguing to you, you want to know more about that, and you're thinking, now most likely you don't know what you're thinking there. You don't know how you could do it. You don't know if you would want it to be a career change or part-time or on the side or even a referral partner. You probably don't know any of that. But if there's an inkling of a thought that you might want to do this, I would say make sure you set up a time, because everyone's thought of what they're going to do and how they're going to do our business when they start. It changes almost every single time. What they think they're going to do and how they're going to do it is different a month later, 2 months later. So if you have any little inkling that there might be something there, let's set up a time. Let's talk more in depth about it and see if there's a fit in any way. And make sure you do it over the next couple of days. And you all in the chat, there's a link to the to a thing for you to fill out. And so let me pull that up here. It should be up. Let me just make sure. It's there, right? So if you go in the chat right now and you click on that link, there's going to be a space for you to fill out information, and it'll come up on your phone or your computer or however you hit that link. But do that right now and fill it out. It's really simple. If you want to talk to us or you want to give us referrals, just write down who you are, how to get a hold of you, who invited you, and then what you want to talk about. If it's the business part of it, like I'm looking it up on my phone right here. If it's the business, what you want to talk about there. I want to, start immediately. I want to find out more. I'm not sure. Anything, just mark that down. If it's the concepts, the products you want to put together numbers for yourself, mark that down. If it's both, mark them all. That's great. And then where you want to meet, whether it's in your home, the office, via Zoom, whatever you prefer, mark that down. Obviously, we'll make sure we do it socially distance and we'll be safe about it. But mark down your preference there. And then the most important thing is appointment time. You know your schedule. I recommend more than anything that you do it within the next couple of days while it's fresh in your mind. Because if you don't, life is going to happen, especially right now. There's so much craziness. There's so much to get sucked into as far as information, and most of it's not positive. And so while this is fresh in your mind, you remember being here tonight, set up a time. It's the person who invited you tonight's probably going to contact you today, right? It's shortly after this call. So, when ever they reach out, if you already filled out the information, cool, they'll use that and go from there. But whether they reach out to you or not, mark down a time to get together. And then we'll assure that we get someone to sit down with you within the next day or two to go through that, right? So we could sit with you tonight, we could sit with you tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon, whatever it is. I just encourage you to do it real soon. And then at the bottom, if you have any questions, you can write down those questions there. Just give us input on your favorite part of the presentation, whatever it is. And then when that's filled out to your satisfaction, hit submit. And then that will ensure that somebody follows up with you. And then we can go from there. So I appreciate you spending the time to be with us. I'll leave you with this thought as we're looking for people more than anything. It's never been more important for us to find good people in your communities to help people with what we do. And we are truly, this is not just, it might seem cheesy, but we really need leaders with vision to help people with dreams. And together we can make a difference. And we really believe that. I've seen it firsthand the last 21 years. People need and want what we do more than they ever have before. And we're here to help. Where no matter how much time you need, we're going to spend it with you. And the same goes for the people you care about. So thanks for being here tonight. And today, wherever you are and in whatever time zone, because I know right now we're spanning from all the way from the East Coast to Hawaii. And so that's a 6-hour difference. So for some of you it's morning, some of you it's midday, some of you it's evening. No matter the time of day, I hope it's a great one. And I hope you take advantage of the stuff you heard tonight and help others do the same. So have a great rest of your day. And I'm sure I'll be able to see and speak with some of you within the near future as well.